You're right. He's right. Yeah, you just let it go. Someone says that to us, don't they?
Good evening, everyone. I'll call the April 16th, 2024 meeting of the Owen County Advisory Plan Commission to order. The first order of business, and we will have a slight change in the agenda. New business will be moved ahead of old business tonight per an accommodation request. So we will hear the OC before we hear the old business, okay? All right, with that being said, if everybody would please rise and we can do the pledge together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Susan, roll call, please.
Amy Catespear,
Here.
Bob Curry,
Here.
Amy Meyer, here, Kenneth Sebastian,
Here.
Bill Purcell,
Here.
Norm Warner,
Here.
Chad Van Ryan,
Here.
Donna McIntyre, Mike Swapper.
Here.
Okay, and if you haven't done so, please sign in so we have a record of you being here. First order of business, like I said, we're going to jump down to new business. Oh, I'm sorry. Missed the minutes. So you guys have the minutes before you. They were in our packets. I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the minutes.
So, Bill Purcell. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Curry. All in favor of approval of the minutes from last meeting? Okay. All right. Now we'll move on. New business. I now call the public hearing for rezone application PC 2024-8 OC Development to order. We will run these as two separate public meetings, just so everyone knows. These requests are typically termed amendments to the zoning map or rezoning. In consideration of these requests, the Plan Commission shall pay reasonable regard to the following: the comprehensive plan, current condition and character of the current structures and uses in each district, the most desirable use for which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values through the jurisdiction, and responsible development and growth. Plan Commission hearing pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-6-604. Before our Plan Commission certifies a proposal to the legislative body, the Plan Commission must hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing now. The Plan Commission shall give notice of the hearing by publication under Indiana Code 5-3-1. The notice must state, first off, did we do the notice 10 days ahead? All right. And was all the property owners, surrounding property owners notified?
Yes.
And did we receive any information back from anyone?
We did not receive any letters back.
No letters? Okay. The time and place of the hearing, the geographical area that is subject to the zone map change. This notice does not require the identification of any real property by means or bounds. A description of the proposed change in the zone maps, the place where a copy of the proposal is on file for examination before the hearing, that written objections to the proposal that are filed with the Secretary of the Commission before the hearing will be considered, that oral comments concerning the proposal will be heard, that the hearing may be continued from time to time as may be found necessary. Okay. So I've already gone through the 10 days ahead. Owner of the real property, two ownerships must receive notice, and you said we did so. We got nothing in writing from anyone. The hearing is here on the notice. Files from the Plan Commission concerning proposals for public records and shall be kept available in the Commissioner's office for inspection by the interested persons. proposal pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4-605, a proposal to change the zone maps may be certified with one of the following: favorable recommendation, unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation. That's the three options that we have. The legislative body shall consider the recommendations, if any, of the Plan Commission before acting on the proposal, meaning they'll go to the commissioners, and the commissioners will have the final say. Okay? All right. If the applicants are here, do you have anything to present, sir? Nothing? Okay. We'll now hear from the public on this application if there's anyone that would like to speak on it. If so, come forward, state your name, and then state your case.
Probably need to turn off the phone.
Yeah, make sure you push the button on the microphone.
Is it okay we sit?
Yeah.
Hi. So, my name is Ann Kicksmiller, but I go by Mrs. Sheik. Chic. I guess since there's two cases, can we speak to both of them, or?
You can speak to both of them now, or you can speak at the second hearing, however you want to do it.
Okay. I guess we'll just speak to both of them. if That's okay.
That's fine.
Okay, so me, myself, and then we have 12 of our neighbors' signatures here that I will give to Susan for the record that shows that the support of the opposition for rezoning from residential single homes to residential multi-homes at 545 White Oak Road, or also known as 4 Oaks. So in summary, we believe that it'll be detrimental to not only our area but the community. And so I'm just going to list out a couple of key points. So I reviewed the 2002 comprehensive plan, and that kind of, well, as you know, oversees the Owen County goals. And I just want to make sure that some of these things are, key points are kept in the forefront as we're making decisions, well, as you're making decisions. So like land use, to preserve and protect agricultural land, preserve rural character and the county's natural resources. So, I mean, there are other like housing development key goals, agricultural development goals, et cetera, but I just want to make sure some of those things that were outlined, yeah, but we're just being cognizant of them as we think forward. So I'm going to just, this isn't all I'm going to read, but I just want to highlight, I know I'm going to start here. So one of our concerns applies to traffic. So by rezoning to multifamily, that could potentially double, triple, quadruple, I mean, we don't know, the number of households. Now, and each of those households can have one or two vehicles. So there's a potential, depending on how many multifamily homes, to have thousands of more cars, traffic onto 43, creating more noise, pollution, traffic congestion, safety issues, etc. And as of right now, and going forward, I understand there's only going to be one entry and exit point onto Highway 43. So, as again, I understand that's not going to change because of marshland or other people's properties, such as I think it's the school, not allowing another entry-exit point. So again, all that traffic, all that congestion in and out a single point. So it also makes us think about schooling on the buses, children. It makes us think of like what's going to happen if there's like an emergency evacuation. How is all that going to be piped through just this tiny little entrance? So anyway, in addition, one of our other points when it comes to traffic is that right now, there's been a traffic survey conducted and agreed upon to widen the Highway 43, and that there be entrance and exit ramps going into the subdivision. But we propose that if you do proceed to rezone and approve this, that there's another traffic survey actually done prior to that decision, because they may decide that we need to re-widen that highway again. They may say, well, now you need 5 lanes of traffic coming in and out of that community. So those are just some thoughts that we had that we would like to be taken into consideration. As far as some other key points that we wanted to bring up, is that, speaking of all this, we are now at 260 homes in this little area, and it's already, in our opinion, ours, and when I speak of ours, a lot of the neighbors and people that we have talked to that aren't here, that haven't written letters, etc., are also in support of opposing this, but they're also in agreement that it just feels very congested in this area already. So again, when you think of multifamily, whether it's duplex or apartments, I mean, quadruple, it's just the potential to just be really just in excess. The other concern that our neighbors have is that it could lower our property values due to crime. When you have an increase in population, crime rates go up. There's more noise, not to mention it's an eyesore for the rural neighborhood. And then lastly, to kind of tying back into traffic, should NDOT require the widening of the Highway of 43 again, it would, I would imagine, maybe play into eminent domain where it takes our land from us to do that. So, all right, just a couple more points. So with the increase in population, we got to think about police, we got to think about fire, we got to think about busing and daycare and medical care, ambulatory services. So all of that not only requires more services, but then it requires financial resources for that, whether that's coming from county or it comes back to property taxes on our end or the county taxes having to be increased. And then last, I think my couple points are, right now, if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we talk about the Texas Pike subdivision,
Excuse me,
yeah.
that has no party to this.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine.
Okay.
So
Not trying to be mean, it's just, doesn't weigh into this one.
Okay, so I was looking into just that there are brand new construction homes, such as that have been available and are on the market for over 180 days. So, so we already have things in place. So I think that's it. Chris, is there anything you wanted to add before I summarize?
I would just reiterate that a development of this size, whether it stays single family or is rezoned as multifamily, will have a very negative impact on the surrounding homes and homeowners, just by sheer virtue of the enormous increase in population and traffic, and we will lose in effect the feel of living in the country, living in a rural environment. So that is a great concern to us.
Thanks. All right, so in summary, one last point is that I know this is the tentative multi-family home is perhaps duplexes, is what I've heard in the rumor mill, but that isn't guaranteed. It isn't outlined and approved for such, just duplexes in a certain amount. So by approving multi-zoning, my understanding is that there could be, one of the concerns is there have been numerous changes of direction and vision throughout the OC development, even prior to OC development. It's changed its members before. So by rezoning multifamily, well, that just opens it up to non-specifics, right? It's not saying what kind of structure, it's not saying we're gonna max cap at 5 or 10% of these homes are gonna be multifamily. So that's just another last concern of ours. So yeah, we just urge you to reject the proposed rezoning on both cases. And hand signatures over to Susan, and then just, this doesn't carry any weight, I don't believe, but we did, just in 3 business days, get 50 online signatures to support this opposition as well. So, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else on this application? Okay. Panel, any questions?
I'd like to hear the names of the signatures on that and see
Okay.
where they're located on this map.
Okay. Yes.
I need to have my name without.
Okay. I'm gonna get his name.
What kind of specifics are you talking about, Chris, as far as multifamily? Are we talking townhomes, duplexes, apartments? Any
The original thought is some duplexes.
duplex?
I'm not gonna pay somebody to come here to figure this all out unless it's rezoned.
Right, that makes sense.
Showing the drawing that we've got here, like, looks like one's a triplex, one's a quad. Is that just?
That's just kind that's, I don't know how, it's just kind of an idea. But I don't know if those fit in there properly, I don't know, we have not had an engineer, no.
Did you get his address, his name and address? Did you want to speak?
I'm speaking, you won't like none of you, nobody here like what I say, because it's bullshit.
Well, let's keep it civil, but
I didn't move, I just moved here.
come over here where we can hear you, sir. They're not going to be able to hear you.
I just moved here,
Okay?
I moved because the location, it was out of town, I don't want to be in town, that's trying to make a town.
When did you move?
December, I just bought the house in November,
Which house is it?
594,
It's on
Aaron
your
Whitley.
screen.
yes.
It's right here on your screen.
Gotcha.
When I get closer.
This past December?
This
Yeah,
house right here.
not 6 months ago.
When did we start this?
Oh, it was long before that.
I mean, that's,
Well, you don't need to put duplexes in.
What's that?
You don't need to put duplexes in, that's just gonna make everything worse. And duplexes are never good. They belong in town, not out in the middle of nowhere.
I think a lot of the comprehensive plan had this whole area kind of ideally for growth. I think it's a lot, this area was kind of meant, we've got the infrastructure there for growth is what
right.
a lot of the intent in the comprehensive plan was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, this property specifically, this, everything
Right.
going down 43 was in the comprehensive plan for development. Because the only 2 options we have is 43 and somewhere near town for this kind of development because of the sewer and the water.
I'm just saying, my point is, it's not like we just decided and we didn't decide to.
It
do
didn't
any
just
of this
happen,
anyway.
Well, I understand that, but you wanna build houses, that's fine. Why do you throw duplexes in it? You've only got a handful of houses, just build the houses. If it's a money thing, you're too damn greedy. It's that simple.
Okay.
Duplexes aren't good, it always, you have people rotate in and out of them. It drops property values. I mean, I'm sure if any of you live there, over in that area, you probably feel the same way. I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know anyone here, so, I mean, it's different when it's in your backyard. I mean, single-family homes, yeah, that's fine, then you can actually build a community. Putting in duplexes, it just, all the ones I've ever been around, I've moved around several times, and all the ones I've ever seen are never any good. Unless they start putting HOAs on them and really make them rough to live in.
Okay, well, this property does have an HOA, but,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know all
Anything else?
the, no, that
Okay.
pretty much do it.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so, yes,
I've lived there 9 years. And
come
I've
up here
lived-
first and state your name and your address so we have it for the record, and then
My
tell me.
name's Gina Bland.
Okay.
My address is 530 White Oak Road now. It was Owen Camp Road the whole time I lived there, but I
Okay.
have dogs and I have chickens and everything. Is that gonna affect any? Because I'm not joining that.
Your property is zoned how? I mean, I don't know. What's your address again?
530 White Oak Road now.
Oh, it's 5:30.
We're the only house back there off the same road where they're building the duplexes. So like the duplex, or not the duplex, but the houses are like right next to us now.
Susan, that's not any part of the subdivision.
That's not,
That is not in the subdivision.
No, we're not in the
so,
subdivision.
so your HOA does not apply to you, so
Yeah. I
do
don't
what
join
you
it,
want to do.
but-
Yeah.
So,
So it's
It's-
single-family residential.
Yeah.
will it be okay for us to keep our chickens? Because the chickens are right
Well, I
on
would
the-
say yes. If you're not in the HOA, you don't have to conform to the HOA rules, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, you're still zoned single family, you said?
Yes.
So anything that applies to single family zoning applies to you. Anything in his subdivision, his HOA takes precedence over it. He still has to follow the rules, and then he's got a more restrictive rule over his properties. So
Okay. So it'll just be the,
it doesn't affect you. I mean,
it'll just be the
Not-
traffic then that, goes back and forth
what's that?
in front
Oh,
of our
yeah.
house.
Yeah, I mean, the traffic, yeah, you're on the
We
same
lost-
road, right?
Yeah, they had to tear down some of the trees in front of our house and move our electricity box, and it's just been a mess. And now our driveway, where they put in the new road, there's big humps and stuff where we have to pull in the driveway, which has never, I hope it gets fixed.
Well, I'm betting if you would talk to Chris, he would straighten that out for you. I mean, we all live here, and I always say, if you be a good neighbor, that goes a long way.
Yeah,
And
I
I've
just
known
didn't
him for
want,
years. I'm sure he'll take care of it if you just let him know what you need.
I don't know. if
Within
it's
reason, I
possible.
mean, he's not gonna pave your drive all the way up to your
Oh,
house.
no, I don't expect him to pave it,
But,
just
yeah, fix it.
where it's at level
I
again.
mean, if he made the problem, I'm sure he'll take care of it. All you
Yeah,
gotta do is
they
talk
made
to
the
him.
problem.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
I have a question. Norm?
Yes,
May I ask Chris?
yeah, that's far away.
Chris, I know you're building some nice homes out
I
there.
guess
Have-
that was one of my questions, is anyone go out there and see what it looks like?
Yes. And so I'm sure that you've looked into, done some research
We
on
got back.
the type of duplex that you have in town too, I think are really nice. So, but have you found any information on how duplexes negatively, I mean, I know you don't want them to affect what you already have,
Correct.
so,
We have HOAs, CCRs, it states in there it can't be, I can't remember if it's 1,800 or 1,600 square foot.
Yeah, why don't you come up here, Chris, so we can hear you? I know how much you enjoy talking on mic. So just state that again, because I'm sure nobody heard it.
We have stuff in our HOA that limits how small they can be. There's got to be stone. There's certain things that you have to conform to. I realize there's a ton of duplexes out there that do look a certain way. And I get it. They're not for rent either. I guess I shouldn't say they would never be, because if they didn't sell, we'd have to do something with them. But they're meant to try to get a real broad range of price points. So
So you're gonna build PUDs then?
hmm,
You're not gonna rent them, they're gonna be PUDs, they're gonna,
they'll be for sale.
so, like the townhouses down here?
Yeah.
Where you own the real estate underneath the house?
Correct.
So it's a PUD, you want to put in PUDs?
Yeah.
Okay. planned unit development.
Yeah.
And they'll look similar to these, I think I like these.
They'll be a little fancier than that because we have to have some stone and some offsets and square footage wise, those are a little smaller than what we'd have to do out there.
Will these have a garage in them?
Yes,
So both sides will have a
yes.
one car, two car?
I just started kind of tinkering with the drawing. They'll have two-car garage. People need a two-car garage.
So after they're sold, let's say a guy buys a duplex, he lives in one side, rents the other one, and it does go south. What is our recourse at that point?
They can't rent them.
They can't rent them.
No, it's already in the HOA that you
So-
cannot buy it to rent it.
Okay, so he's buying one side of a duplex and that's it. He doesn't buy both sides and rents one side out.
It's already in the stuff we've already turned
Okay,
in.
that's what I thought, but I wanted it on the record. Okay.
Now, I am the HOA, I am the whatever, so if we build two or three of them and they don't sell, we would rent them to start with. But if they are sold, no one else can go in there, buy, rent, nothing like that.
So then who would be the property manager at that point? Would it be you guys?
We have control of it until 80% of it's sold. And then it gets turned over to the HOA members.
And has that board started yet, the HOA board? Is there any members of it yet?
Me and John, that's it.
None of them, well, eventually it'll be the residents in that area though, right?
Yes.
After 80%.
After 80% of.
After 80% of the development is sold.
How many of those duplexes are you planning on building? How many are?
I don't know, because we've got certain setbacks, they gotta draw it up. So I don't know. I know I can probably fit it, the minimum 4 or 5 in there, but I don't know.
Where at?
It would be right behind Eddie Fry and your house.
You better get that rechecked for drainage.
We usually do all our studies.
My yard holds water.
That's your yard, not mine.
You guys went through and,
Okay.
you guys went through and did the ditch. and-
That's enough. Okay, we're not gonna argue in here. We can discuss, like I said, he's willing to fix what she's got going on, he'll fix yours if he caused it, I'm sure. Yes?
Is, I don't know how all this is going, but is that gonna eventually end up part of Spencer, or?
I know of no plans for Spencer to annex that, if that's what you're
Yeah,
asking.
that's what I'm at, yeah. That's what
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I have not.
Yeah, a lot of annexing.
Yeah.
I don't
There's-
think they can because.
Yeah, the
that
problem is the property
has to be
between,
joined.
I don't know how they would get there, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
So 4 to 5 units, how many, you're looking at maybe duplexes, but you're not for sure.
I don't, yeah.
When
When I call them and say,
When you
hey,
say-
draw me something up there, that's gonna be a $5,000 to $10,000 bill. I'm not going to do that
Right.
if there's no chance of multifamily.
I was just wondering how
can't.
many families would be in one unit, or, the duplex, we know there's 2 there, but I don't
Correct.
know if you're going up with it or.
From what I've read, and I think Susan touched on this, I think a triplex, after a triplex, you have to get state involved, and I don't know all those rules quite yet. So that's what I gotta look into.
Because I know she was talking about the traffic and stuff, and I was trying to get maybe an idea
The
of how
traffic,
much more
I
traffic.
don't think
that
she
would-
understands that the traffic study is, there's 4 or 5 different levels that you apply for. Maybe Greg can help explain this, but it's like 1 to 20 is this, 20 to 150 is this, 250 to 700 is this. So the traffic study's been done, it's not NDOT's already done it. They've already looked at it, they've looked at our plot, they've looked at, this isn't their first rodeo. She said we're landlocked. I know the school wants that road to go over to county line. They've looked at putting the road on the south side. We are not landlocked. We have the capability to do other stuff.
I know they looked at going at the other side,
Yeah.
coming in that way, but I don't know if that got mixed or what happened there, but
Yeah.
Cost prohibitive right at this
Yeah.
point.
something happened there that
Yeah.
didn't go through.
Correct.
But that, yeah, that helps with the traffic issue.
Correct.
To explain some of that, because maybe when they did do the traffic survey, it was expanded beyond what maybe you originally asked for.
Correct.
And we're definitely not talking 20 apartments in a building, right?
I'm not interested in doing
But I
apartments.
have a question. He said that the duplexes could not be rented if they weren't sold, but then he said if they weren't sold, then he could rent.
I can, yes.
Yeah.
So,
He's the HOA right now. Until that, correct me if I'm wrong, until 80% of that property is sold, then he is the administrator of that property.
what's
under
the
the HOA.
difference of who
It's how,
rents?
sure, it's how it's written up in his HOA.
If a rented property is rented property, no matter who rents it.
Well, they have a homeowners association that's written up, and that's how it's explained in that
But
homeowners association.
if somebody else bought it, it would still be under the homeowners. So the person, if they rent it, I mean, how are you supposed to know? If it's like family or if they're renting it on their own.
You'll know.
It's because I control it.
Yes, yeah, and I know
I
you're
have
not gonna let it
So,
look like a dump
Yeah.
in
The
there.
goal is to sell
I mean,
it out. If you got 80%.
I don't, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not looking interested in being a landlord, but
No.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that if I have a house on the market for 10 years and someone wants to rent it, I'm going to recoup some of my money. The HOA, if someone else buys it and says, hey, we wanna rent this, I have the right to say, no, you cannot do that, you have to live there.
Well, my point is, the goal is for you to sell everything out
Correct.
eventually.
Yeah,
If you build duplexes and you rent them, and what they're saying happens with rental property, you just screw the whole development.
yeah,
Which
you
is-
wouldn't do that.
Well,
To my
it's their
zero.
dollars.
and I say rent, but we've looked at rent to own, so to me, there's a difference too. If someone needs a year to offset some, whatever it costs, you know, they need up front, that's what we've looked into, is a rent to own thing.
You had something else, what was it?
Yeah, may I had 3 points I wanted to make, and,
Okay.
well, 4.
Well,
But, so one, first of all, it sounds like a conflict of interest if he and someone else are the single HOA members. So we need somebody that's like non-biased, my other point was that it's the area that is actually, some of us don't care, but it's the environmental, it's around that lake. So where he's thinking of putting these duplexes is behind Mr. Fry's house, his house, and it's gonna knock out, we've already knocked out probably 90% of the trees, but now it's gonna reduce that even further, that little sliver of trees that we have around that lake, and it'll affect just the natural water resources. And I just wanted to also point out just basically our housing market, like, I just was looking at like, data from Indiana Realtors, US Census, et cetera. And it's basically showing that our vacancy rates here are like 15%. Our population in Spencer is pretty much steady. It's actually declining on the whole county. And that we've already got so many houses from other subdivisions, this subdivision. And lastly, that these houses are sitting on the market longer than the average Indiana county. So.
anybody got anything else from the panel here?
I guess it's the unknown of what's gonna happen in our neighborhood really bothers me. Is, you know, maybe, like you said, communicate, be nice or whatever.
Right.
I feel like it should go both ways with the neighbors and ourselves, you know, me and like our driveway.
Right.
We should be able
But,
to
so,
communicate that.
let me just play devil's advocate for a moment. Have you talked to Chris at all about your driveway?
I didn't even know who Chris was.
Okay.
No,
So,
I haven't talked to him.
I imagine you guys could exchange information after the meeting?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that would-
I mean, that's the way to do it, is, you know, if he's unapproachable at that point, then that would be a commissioner or get hold of me, you know? I've known him for a long time. I've known both of them a long time.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Today I had to stop and wait for them to move trucks when they were paving the entryway and stuff, and that don't bother me. I know they're working, and, you know, I understand. I haven't complained or anything about that, but I just lived there a long time, and the unknown of what's gonna happen next door, it kind of shakes you up a little bit, you know, because you've lived in peace for so long, that the unknown is what, if we could communicate a little bit better about that, that would be amazing.
This property has been talked about being developed for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, long before I was on this panel, well, any of us probably.
So, I mean,
And I will say, I think somebody referenced the 2002 comprehensive plan. We just redid the comprehensive plan in, 2020, right? So there is an updated one. And on that one, I know this property specifically is spoken about, and so is the other developments, the other two that are in the county. Those are the places that we have with this infrastructure that we have that we can do this kind of thing in. So.
You're saying 45 units in the two, 8 and 9, or is that 45 apiece? Is that what? I'm sorry. Did you say 45 units in 8 and 9, or
4 to 5.
4 to 5? That's why I was wanting to clarify. I couldn't tell if it's 4 to 5 or 45. 4 to 5 duplexes in 8 and 9, or 4 or 5 in a piece? We're talking 4 or 5 or 8 or 10, I guess is what we're asking.
I don't know until they draw it out. I can't, it's got some dips and stuff like that. We've had our environmental study done, so we have to stay away from that. I don't know. I don't know.
I just want to kind of get an idea of what we're approving. I mean, you know, I think approval and contingent on X amount of units, duplexes, that way we're not approving something that could just be open-ended and turn into a apartment complex or something along those lines.
Okay. All right. Hearing nothing else, was there anything else up here?
But you was saying, when I asked you how many units, you said you're looking at 4 to 5? Is that what you said?
If we're talking about that land up front, but I don't know. I can't. I shouldn't even have said that evidently, because I don't know, because I'm sure you're gonna have to get some variances for it, and I'm sure I'm gonna have to stick off property lines. I don't do the small, tight roads, we do sidewalks, and so that, I don't know if that will push a house too close to the neighbors, I don't know if it'll push it too close to the wetlands, but I can't, that's really expensive to find out.
What would the minimum lot size be then for an idea, ideally a minimum lot size? We're talking an acre for a
The
unit?
rest of it's approved for a third acre, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them that are a little smaller than that.
Roughly about a third of an acre per unit or per half?
That was per lot in the back.
All right.
I guess, Chris, I'm not trying to be a stickler. When I hear the word duplex, I think rental.
I know.
And you're not, what you're building, I'm assuming is going to be very similar to what we have down here, the Louisville. They're
Roughly, yeah.
duplexes,
Yeah.
but they own each side.
Correct.
So I don't think that's going to be a Section 8 housing.
All right.
Or
No.
that sort of thing. So I think your terminology is, people get on that one.
I would agree with that, yes. I can't, in the back, I think those homes will sell for $375 to $425. It wouldn't make sense to go up there and put $100,000 homes. That's just not gonna happen.
Yes.
I have a question for Mr. Ball. Are these multifamily homes that you're referring to, are they surrounding the lake? meaning behind Mr. Fry's, behind this gentleman's house? Is it like on that south, on the west side as well as the east side? So that you're kind of having to knock down trees?
It is, when you come in, it would be to the right.
Yeah, okay. Alright, so I just guess like, I just comment to the board, that's like the last 10% of the trees that are left from, in that area. And it's the only thing that kind of separates and gives it a little bit more of a screen barrier between that and the homes that are along 43.
No, that tree screen is facing our property. There's no trees up toward the front.
If I was to pull into White Oak Road past Mr. Fry's house, you have trees, then you have the lake, then you have some more trees. So I was referring to those, kind of that tree line.
The trees that are on my property, on my lake,
I'm sorry?
the trees that are on my property that are next to my lake?
Yeah, no, I know it's your property.
Okay.
I'm just.
I thought you were saying trees up by the neighbor's house. There's no
No.
trees up there.
No, no. I was just mentioning to the board that that's just a nice little, screen between those that live on 43, that those trees that are there, it blocks their view to any potential multifamily homes and as well as the existing residential homes.
Will you have to come before us, like with a final plat for us to approve, or will this be the last time we have to visit this?
No, I'd have to get it platted, drawn out so you can see what it is.
So we'll be going over this again?
Okay. Nothing else, I will close this public hearing. Dana, do we need to do the other public hearing before we can vote, correct? On the three recommendations that we have available to us.
Right, you would have to have a separate vote on each of the three, but if the public hearing, public comments was over
Because
all three of those.
I told them they could comment on both public hearings, so. So we need to have a vote for this public hearing before we move on to the second public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So you've heard the public comments, you've heard the applicant specifically for 2024-8 OC development. So I would entertain a motion. And remember, our options are favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to go to the legislative body.
So those specific words have to be in the motion? Favorable, non-favorable?
Right, we can do one of three things. We can send it to the commissioners as favorable recommendation, an unfavorable recommendation, or no recommendation whatsoever from this body.
Okay.
That's our three options.
And we're not the final say.
And we are not the final say. No.
I'll make a motion then that, for a favorable recommendation made.
Okay. Case Bureau. Do I hear a second on that one?
I'll second it.
Is that you, Chad? Chad Van Ryd's second? All right, all in favor of sending it to the commissioners on the first hearing with a favorable recommendation by show of hands? I mean, 5 of us? And against? And did you vote?
Abstain.
You abstain. So 5-2-1. Okay. I'll now open public hearing for the rezone application PC 2024-9 Owen County Development, or OC Development. Assuming there's no differences in this hearing, Does anybody have anything else to add? Okay. So this is also for a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation to the commissioners on rezone to multifamily. That's what's before us.
Are you closing it?
I haven't closed it yet, because,
Okay. I wanna make sure.
so, any discussion before I close it? All right, so I will close PC 2024-9. Now I would entertain a motion using those three criteria that we're given for PC 2024-9.
I'll make a motion to give it a favorable recommendation. That's what comprehensive plan was built for. This is the plan that we need some growth in this county, and this is what we planned on having the growth. I know it's not easy decisions, but I'll make the motion to give a favorable recommendation.
Go Van Run. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
It's a second. All right. And that was favorable, correct?
Yes.
That would hurt? Okay. Everyone in favor of a favorable recommendation going to the commissioners by show of hands? It's like five again. Opposed? And you're abstaining? Okay, so 5-2-1 again. Okay. Old business. So these are three public hearings, Dana, but last time we took them all as one, correct?
Yes, and I misunderstood what you were saying before. I thought it was, business to do business. So yes, you could do a public hearing for all three at one time, and then just vote on each one of them separately, not a separate hearing.
Okay, all right.
One hearing for all three, and then vote.
That's what we did last time with this one. Okay, so I will call public hearing for a rezone application, PC 2024-4, PC 2024-5, and PC 2024-6. Ridinger Enterprises, Abe Dirksen, to order. If the applicant's here, could you please come forward, sir, and state your application to us? So what are you wanting to do out there?
We do storage sheds, and I would like to display storage sheds on there. And if it works out, maybe have a neighbor or a retired guy to maybe show them to people and sell them if it works out that way. That's kind of what we were thinking.
You're not going to build them there though, right?
No, no. It's just for displays.
Okay. Anything else?
I
Is that
guess
pretty much it?
That's pretty much it, yes.
Okay.
How many sheds you gonna have out there, you think?
We normally kind of go by the demand. If it's a good community, then we'll put more out there. We just kind of what the demands, because what we don't want to have a lot of them out there that people don't want, because you have to rotate them, you know. If you build a lot of homes and you can't sell them, then you're building too many.
Do you have any concerns at all about the congestion out there already? With the traffic I'm talking about?
Yes, but ours is more just a low, you know, far as customers. Some days you don't get any. Some days you do good, you might get 5.
Well, I would say this, there's a couple of times during the day that you're not going to want to be backing the truck in there and trying to load up a building. and that's going to be somewhere around 8 o'clock in the morning and somewhere around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not going to want to have a truck anywhere near that area, or we're going to have a bigger mess than we already have out there. I would think everybody would agree with that.
Have the schools out there.
Yeah.
Corpus Creek School is across the highway back in the Flatwoods area. You have all the school buses and the
Yeah.
congestion with a lot of traffic from people picking their kids up and stuff.
About-
Down on that highway.
Probably about 2:30 to about 3:30, it's almost impassable
You can.
in all locations, in all directions.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there'll be a cop sitting out there directing traffic. That's how congested it gets right there.
Well, if that's the case, that is something, we have a guy in the shop to dispatch like the trucks when they're supposed to be at certain
Yeah.
places, so.
You would definitely need to take that into consideration.
Uh-huh.
First thing morning, last thing in the afternoon, just putting it out on your radar.
Uh-huh.
Plan on accessing it off of Concord, I think it's off the county road. Is that where you're planning on accessing?
Yes, uh-huh. Kind of where, we were kind of thinking where they went always across to the Dollar General, yes.
Right.
Yeah, other up where it'd be, a little easier to come out if you needed to.
Okay. Would you, if we were to approve that, would you be in agreement to put a fence or some type of a hedgerow or something on the back side of that to keep your neighbors back there, maybe to block that?
Oh,
view?
yes, that wouldn't be no problem to, plant some pines or something where, a couple of rows to block them off where, where they had privacy.
Right.
Yes, and we could do something, like how many feet, just put it in there. I mean, it's plenty big, so
Right.
we could plant like some trees in the back there.
The other thing you're going to have to keep in mind is that there's a 75-foot setback from the highway, from the center of the highway back.
Uh-huh.
So that would be to the north, or
Uh-huh.
to the south of you, but you have to be 75 feet off that main highway. You also have to be 75 feet off the county road.
Mm-hmm.
That area, because of vision, would have to remain unobstructed.
Yes, I understand that, yes.
75 in both
Yeah,
sides.
and the deal about it, it slopes anyway, so you would want to just leave that in grass for,
And have
erosion
you,
and all that.
have you applied for a driveway permit yet?
I have not done it because I didn't even know if it applied, but I've talked to him a couple of times, yes.
So, where are you at on this? I know we did a traffic study out there. Where are you at on driveway, width of driveway, distance from the intersection? I know, I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I don't mind being on the spot. Some of our jobs have changed here just a little bit. The driveway permits actually go to
Oh.
Suzanne's department.
Oh, wow.
We work together on that. With the trucks and trailers going in and out, I would ask that there be a minimum of a 40-foot driveway that gets whatever comes in and out. That's what we recommend for any agricultural driveway. I believe that's what we recommended for the school, for the bus barn. So I think that the driveway at the road needs to have a width of 40 feet. Of course, it can narrow up as it goes down. As long as all the setbacks are abided by, and they're familiar with the school traffic, and I would have to add to that the daycare traffic,
Yes.
which makes that a little later in the day.
When do we know when the daycare lets out? Anybody?
I think they have to be picked up at 5 o'clock.
All right.
That's the only thing. There is a lot of traffic right at that intersection. We did the traffic study for 2 weeks. And you have that.
It's like 14,000 cars, wasn't it? Something
Yeah,
crazy
it's
like
crazy, and I'll speak to it. I'm the one that done it. Thank you, Suzanne, that didn't bring it. And I'm just gonna read from what I did, on March 5th, at approximately 8 o'clock, the Owen County Highway Department deployed 2 traffic counters on Concord Road. Counter 1 was placed on the south end near State Road 46, and counter 2 was placed on the north end near Mount Carmel Road. On Tuesday, March 19th, at 8 o'clock a.m., counter 1 had recorded 13,063 vehicles that crossed over in a 14-day period. averaging 6,532 vehicles per week, or 937 vehicles a day. On the north end, counter 2 was placed at approximately the same time, and a big difference, it recorded 8,298 vehicles passed in a 14-day period, an average of 4,149 vehicles per week and 592 per day. I did use 2 different types of counters. I trust them both, but one of them is the old pressure type counter, and one of them is a new laser counter. We have used them, we have tested them in the same spot, and they count the same. Your traffic there at that location, the added traffic, I believe, comes from your first subdivision off to the left and behind the Dollar General, and then the Sweet Owen Industry and the daycare. And, you know, there is a lot of traffic to all, but as long as everybody understands, you know, that's when the congestion is, I think it can work. I had my doubts to start with, I'll be honest with you, and I spoke to you about that.
Yep.
But, you know, with the 75-foot setbacks, and if that works for these folks, and they can work within the parameters of the hours that it's really busy, I don't personally see an issue that I had to begin with. I was more worried about the setback and the line of vision, but I have been back out when you have the 75-foot setback either direction. I believe the traffic, the intersection is going to be safe. So, I mean, it's your decision to decide because of the congestion, those type of things. It's just the hours that folks would have to work around, and if everybody can accommodate each other.
Okay.
But when the daycare's letting out, guys, I've been there when the daycare's letting out, that's worse than the school traffic. It's tough.
It's right across the road from where you're proposing.
It's in and it's out. It's fast.
Yeah.
You probably aren't wanting to move things in and out when you have that much traffic though anyway, are you? I mean, I wouldn't think so.
Okay. You have anything else, sir?
No.
Okay. Anyone public like to speak on this application? No one? Okay. Panel, do you have anything else?
Can we pull it up on the map so I can look at it on the computer here?
While he's looking at that, I'm going to go ahead and read through the script again because I have to put it in the public record during the hearing. The requests are typically termed amendments to the zoning map or rezoning. In considering these requests, the Plan Commission shall pay reasonable regard to the comprehensive plan, the current condition and character of the current structures and use in each district, the most desirable use of which the land in each district is adapted, the conservation of property values throughout the district, reasonable development and growth. Planning Commission hearing pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-6-604, before a Plan Commission certifies a proposal to the legislative body, the Plan Commission must hold a public hearing. The Plan Commission shall give notice of the hearing by publication under Indiana Code 5-3-1. And we did that, correct?
Yes.
The notice must state the time and place of the hearing, the geographic area that's subject to the zone map change, a description of the proposed change in the zone maps, the place where a copy of the proposal is on file for examination before the hearing, that written objections to the proposal are all filed with the Secretary of the Commission before the hearing will be considered. Did we receive any written? Okay. That oral comments concerning the proposal will be heard. We offered that the hearing may be continued from time to time as may be necessary, found necessary. Due notice to all interested parties. The Plan Commission shall also provide due notice to the interested parties at least 10 days before the date set for the hearing. We've already said that we did that. The owners of real estate property to a depth of 2 ownerships must receive notice. The hearing must be held by the Plan Commission at the place stated in the notice. The files of the Plan Commission concerning proposal are public record and shall be kept available at the Commissioner's office for inspection by any interested person. And then proposal pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4-605, a proposal to change the zone maps may be certified with the following: a favorable recommendation, unfavorable recommendation, no recommendation to the legislative body. The legislative body shall consider the recommendation, if any, of the Plan Commission before acting on the proposal. So, in essence, the same as before. What's before us today is rezoned to commercial, right?
Business, what's listed as business.
Business.
Commercial.
Okay, and it's currently
It's currently single-family residence.
single-family residential.
I will say, whenever McGuire bought that 40 acres,
Uh-huh.
cleaned it out, Westwood Road, cleaned that thing,
Concord Villas?
Concord Village. Before we had planning and zoning, he reserved those lots to be commercial lots. So the people who bought in that subdivision there, in the beginning, knew that one day those would be commercial. If you look at that, we did commercial with the dollar store next door. You jump on over on the other side of the road, 2 lots, and we're commercial where the food store.
Yeah, food sales.
Food sales. And then you go just a little north of there and you've got Stone Belt.
Right.
So I mean, you're in the hub of commercial activity.
Well, and the last time we heard this application, Rick Rumpel was here stating that he would like to rezone his to commercial since everything around him would be. And I will point out that on the most current comprehensive plan, once again, when we were talking about commercial or multifamily or anything, this was one of the corridors, 46, 43, and West 46. That was our 3 areas that we targeted, if you will, for development of this kind. So my only apprehension is the traffic. I mean, so I think whatever we do with this, we need to get the visual barrier in our motion, and we also need to get the operation time, or the non-operational times blocked off so that he's not trying to move things while the traffic is at a standstill out there. Those 2 blocks of the day. I know that's going to be hard to enforce, but it does need to be in the motion, in my opinion. So,
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve him with us blocking out 7:30 till 9 a.m. and 3.
I'd say 2:30,
2:30 till
probably 3:30.
3:30. Take care of the daycare.
Well, that,
Don't
well,
do
what,
daycare, but,
when, it won't take care of the daycare.
no, I think that's 5, but I don't know.
Just go to 5? What,
That's fine.
okay. And then you wanted the visual barrier on the, basically the northwest side of him, correct,
Which one of
between?
these lots we got, I mean, we got
Right.
this.
It's all 3 of them.
Are we gonna vote on all 3 of them now?
We have to take the vote separately, I'm just,
Yeah, I'm just wondering which one we're talking about.
The
Furthest
So
north?
lot 1 would be your first one.
so the one on the corner is lot 1.
Lot 1 is the closest to the highway.
That's the one we're talking about now.
Right.
Right.
So that, the barrier deal.
That barrier wouldn't have to be on that one. You are correct. Okay, so lot 1, which is the one closest to the corner, is the one we're talking about right now. You heard the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Amy. All right, so just so we're all on the same page, we have a blocked out time frame, 7:30 to 8:30 and 2:30 to 5, is that correct?
He said 9, I think.
To 9?
You know
Okay.
more of the school hours.
7:30 to 9, and then 2:30 to 5 in the afternoon. You'll have to work in those 2, you won't be able to move anything in or out of there in those 2 time frames.
You wouldn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to the back lot here in a minute. So that's the only stipulation on that piece of property. And we have a motion and a
We
second.
didn't close the hearing.
What's that?
Close the hearing.
Do I need to close the hearing before we vote on each individual one?
Yeah, the public comments.
Okay.
portion of the hearing,
All right.
Not the hearing.
All right, give me just a second, Bill. I'll hold your motion. I now close the public hearings for PC 2024-4, 2024-5, and 2024-6. We have a motion on the floor for lot number 1 and a second. So all in favor of that motion with the stipulations that we've placed on that lot by show of hands? Unanimous? Okay, lot 2, the middle lot. I need a motion for that one.
I will move the same motion.
Move same motion on lot 2, need a second?
Do we need anything on there in reference, I mean, the entrance onto the Alpha Concord?
Well, that one will require us, I mean, he's gonna have, so the stipulation on this one's gotta be the 40-foot wide road going to the county highway with a pipe in it. That's, and the ordinance takes care of the pipe, but he did say 40 foot, so let's hold him to that one.
I will amend that to
All right.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
You talked about setback. Did you want to?
Well, I mean, we can put it in the motion, the setback is part of the ordinance.
Okay, well, I'm just asking, making sure that if
Right.
that's what you want to set, make sure
I mean-
that that's.
You want to use the existing setbacks.
Right. So I guess we can amend it to say the existing setbacks, if that's okay with you? Okay. All right, now I need a second. Mr. Swaffer. All right, so on this lot, sir, same time constraints, 40-foot wide drive coming into that center lot, and adhere to all the setbacks and the pipe that's required by the ordinance, so 75 feet. The pipe's gonna probably come from the highway department, I would assume, or is he gonna have to get that himself?
We can provide it at cost.
We can provide it at cost, okay. So you'll need to get a hold of the highway department on that. But with that being said, all in favor? Okay, unanimous again. Lot 3. Okay, this one's the one with the visual barrier between the residential area behind them.
My motion will be the same as the last, with the exception that there will be a boundary planting of some sort on the north and on the west side of the property. That would be up against Michael Lucas and Philip Huntsman.
So do you know where that is, right? So north and west, so you're going to totally visually block off. Okay, so I need a second on that motion. Mike?
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 I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
If he's gonna have his salesman there all the time, there's nobody there then?
I've got, on the poorer lots, I got the one lot that I got one of them that kind of runs 3 days like in one town, and then he'll alternate it kind of, but he normally, you know, like the morning hour is no problem because he don't come there early, you know, it'd be after the school hours.
Well, the only thing I got concerned, you got somebody standing out there and stuff, and there's no restrooms, where they're gonna go to the bathroom.
Dollar store next door.
Well, yeah.
Getting good with the dollar store. All right.
I meant when you go look at.
So, you've heard the motion, we've had it properly seconded with the amendment of the visual screen on the north and the west side. All in favor of that motion by show of hands? Unanimous again. Okay, sir, you are set to go. Susan, you got any instructions on when he might be able to pick this stuff up? Probably Monday?
Yeah. Well, he can't pick anything up. He's got to.
Oh, it's gotta go. Never
Still
mind.
gotta go to the
Never mind.
commissioners.
Yes, you gotta go to the commissioners.
It would be the
I'm sorry.
last meeting of May. I'll let you know when that meeting is.
We don't have the final say, the commissioners do, so our recommendation goes to them, and that's the meeting she's talking about, so.
And just for clarification, it was that he couldn't be moving product in and out during those times. It's not that somebody couldn't be there and show.
Right, yeah, we just don't want in and out traffic during those times. You can show 50 people around over there if you'd like, just don't have them going out in the road. Because they won't go anywhere anyway, it'll be blocked. Okay. Moving on, number 7, public comment. Looks like that's a no. Staff report, if anything, do we have a meeting next month?
I forgot to look and see if there was anything. I don't believe so, but I will update everybody later on that one.
Dana, anything from you?
Yep. I'm good.
Plan commission comments.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, anybody want to second that one? Hey, I got several on that one. Mr. Van Ryn. We are adjourned, thank you very much for coming.